Hey everyone, welcome. With the price of everything going up, the direct-to-consumer brands seems to be more and more popular. When I think of them, there's usually two names that pop in my mind right away. One is Canyon, the other one is YT. Little I knew that we have a direct-to-consumer brand right here in our backyard. I'm talking about the Fezzari based in Utah. And today I have with me their downcountry or cross-country bike, the Signal Peak. Let's take a closer look at this Fezzari. And if that RT intro gave you an idea of the bike looks, what does Fezzari means? According to their founders, it means in the moment or being in the moment, enjoying your bike. As for the name of their bikes, these are based on trails that they like to ride in Utah. And being a direct-to-consumer brand, Linden, Utah is the only place where you will have an actual store for Fezzari. Everything else will be found online, and hopefully with this video you guys will get a better idea of what the Signal Peak is about. And if you guys find this kind of video useful, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps my channel. But back to our Signal Peak. Like all their other bikes, this is based on a horse link suspension or a 4-bar suspension that actually kept that rear pivot, something that Specialized or Santa Cruz lost with the introduction of their flex stays. That extra pivot here adds a bit of weight, but supposed to keep the suspension supple, especially on a bike like this that doesn't provide that much suspension. You can have the Signal Peak SL, the lightest version of the frame with 100 millimeter travel in the rear, or you can have the Signal Peak with 115 millimeters of travel to turn this into a fun, short travel trail bike. The SL medium frame, assumed in this somewhat raw carbon finish, is 1860 grams. Add the weight of a light shock like this and you end up with a frame weight that is very competitive. You can definitely build a cross-country rig with it. That's what the SL is supposed to be, with the 100 millimeter travel in the rear, and it also comes with 100 millimeter travel up front, usually using the SID fork like this or the equivalent Fox. Both the 100 millimeter SL and the 115 come with a remote for the shock. Because of the suspension design, this is very active. It's going to give you great traction. However, it might not be the most efficient pedaler, so flip that switch just to get a rock solid rear. Here in their shock link, you have a flip chip that they don't really mention anywhere. I assume they use this when they change the shock from the 40 millimeter shock stroke for this 100 millimeter SL to the 45 millimeter stroke for the 115. This is actually version 2 of Signal Peak. It was launched in 2022 and it has a pretty modern geometry. We're talking about 450 millimeter reach for a medium size frame. We're talking about a 67 degree head angle. We're talking about a 75 degree angle. And this is for the version that uses 115 millimeter rear. For Signal Peak SL with 100 millimeter shock, the angle is actually steepened by 1 degree, and you also have the reach slightly longer at 458. With that kind of geometry numbers, I expect this to ride as a pure downcountry type of bike if you use it with 115 shock, or as a nice racy bike if you use the Signal Peak SL with its 100 millimeter rear travel. Otherwise, nice attention to details. You can see the cable ports here available on both sides of the head tube. They don't use tube and tube, so you can run these moto style if you want to, something that's important to me. Cables come out here at the bottom of the down tube, and they would run over and into the rear chainstays in case you're using cables. In this case, we're using an Access drivetrain, so no need for that. You see this beefy molded chainstay protector that's ribbed to keep the noise down. You also have a chain sock plate that's not installed by many manufacturers these days. And also, this frame allows you to install 2 bottles. I really like that. And you have 3 bosses here for the front one to change its position up or down. The down tube is nicely protected as well from the factory. And you see this frame having film installed. They installed that per request as well for an extra fee. Plenty of space here between the rear triangle and the front, so you shouldn't get too many rocks or mud stuck in there. Plenty of clearance in the rear, I would say, for a 2.5 tire. This is a 235 and it has plenty of room around. And you have a threaded bottom bracket, a trend that continues through the industry these days, as opposed to the press fit. Behind the chainring, you have 2 ISCG tabs, so if you want to install a chain guide, you can do it easily. On the down tube, you have 2 more bosses here for an extra water bottle in case you use this as an adventure bike. You can see that this frame is made in Taiwan, even though they build all their bikes in Utah. Bike in this configuration is at 25.5 pounds, but this bike is completely custom. This is their lightest frame, SL, 100 mil in the back. However, this is built with a 120 millimeter fork. This is a SID Ultimate. You see the race day here. You have Formula Cura brakes that I bragged about not too long ago on my channel, and these are used with 180 millimeter front, 160 in the rear rotors. These are Magura 2 millimeter rotors. They're pretty good, and again, these are 2 piston calipers, not 4. Drivetrain is an XX1 axis used with that optional paddle that mimics a normal shifter. That's used with a good old 1050 Eagle cassette, rainbow, chain is also rainbow, XX1 cranks also. You have a power meter, a Quark as well, and you can see that XX1 axis derailleur. In the back, they're using an UDH hanger, so universal derailleur hanger that was introduced by SRAM a few years back. If anything, this should future-proof your frame for next generation drivetrains, definitely from SRAM. As for the pedals, he uses the HT M1 Leopard XC pedals that I reviewed on my channel not too long ago. These are very similar to what Nino uses on his Scott Spark. Carbon saddle, as expected, 125 millimeter PNW dropper, only because this is pretty light, and that dropper connects to one of these combo remotes from Trek Bontrager. You have the suspension lockout up top. This only actuates the rear, by the way, and you have the dropper remote here at the bottom. The cockpit is built around this Bontrager RSL. Again, it's an integrated bar and stem that is very light and looks very aggressive for racing, and that's what this bike is mostly used for. Other than that, he uses foam grips from ESI. I use the same on my cross-country race bikes. Wheels are the Bontrager Covey Pro 30 that you guys probably know have a 29 millimeter ID, and this is used with a racing ray up front, tan wall with a Tennis Armor insert in it, and in the rear my buddy likes to use Recon Race. This is in 235, again with the Tennis Armor protection or insert inside. So that's where the 25.5 pounds of this bike come from. Obviously we were able to build this because the bike comes in frame only or full build. They have multiple options, and if you go on their website, you're gonna see a few things that they brag about. One thing is this, the 23-point customization of the bike. We're talking about the cockpit, talk about stem, bar width, crank length, things like that. Definitely appreciated for people that don't know that much about bikes. Also, these guys have a 30-day warranty or return warranty. If you don't like it, bring it back. If it's not damaged, we'll take it back, which is kind of interesting. I've never heard of anything like that. So what do you guys think? Have you ever heard of the Fezzari bikes? For me, they are a very interesting find, and if you look at their La Salle Peak, Delano Peak, they're pretty popular, definitely in Utah, where these guys are from. Did you like this video? Do you find it useful? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you have any comments or questions, and until next time, hope to see you folks on the trails. Cheers, guys. Cheers.